Hey to all the spooks out there. Welcome back to another episode of Spine Chilling Chats, where every Wednesday we dig up the darkest corners of true crime, history, folklore, and the supernatural. I'm Ange.
And I'm Manda.
Thank you to everyone who entered our Spine Chilling Summer Story contest. You all brought the chills, the mystery, and the kinds of stories that make you sleep with the light on. Every single entry gave us goosebumps. We were seriously impressed by the spooky creativity in this community.
And while we thought we'd be picking just one winner, we were dead wrong. Dead
Wrong.
Pun intended, I guess. We simply couldn't choose. Two stories stood out so strongly, we knew we had to break our own rules. Because who doesn't like rule breakers?
Yeah, me.
And I was just going to say, Ange is not a rule breaker.
I hate breaking the rules.
God.
It makes me so uncomfortable.
Yeah. I remember one time I got her to break the rules at work, and it turned out okay when you had to park.
Oh, yeah. Luckily. First up is Dave Bradley. This man has been holding out on us. Not only did he keep his ghostly encounters under wraps, he never let on that he's an amazing writer. I'll be honest, I hesitated. We go way back, and I didn't want anybody thinking it was rigged. But once you hear his story, you'll understand why we couldn't not pick him.
And then there's Aiyana Hagan. Her story, pure nightmare fuel. Aiyana wove something so vivid, eerie, and expertly told that we had to stop, rewind, and reread it just to savor the fear again. This kind of storytelling stays with you, and we know you're going to feel the same way.
So without further ado, gather around the fire pit, stare into the flames, and let their stories and ours take over your mind. Because in this special Summer Campfire episode tonight, we're bringing the spook.
But
we're bringing spooky back. Yeah.
I was going to say, don't get too close to the fire where you burn your fucking eyelashes and eyebrows off. Because you need those. Because if you don't have them, you look weird.
You do. Sorry, Miley.
So keep them. Keep the eyebrows.
Sorry,
keep
Lady
the lashes.
Gaga. You need eyebrows.
You need eyebrows.
Yeah. So first up is Dave's. And he didn't title this. So I don't know if he's...
So we're going to title it for him. Fucking Dave's story.
Fucking Dave.
Fucking Dave. Holding out.
There was a point in time when everything in my life felt stagnant, like nothing was going right. I took it upon myself to find some new interests or hobbies to occupy my time, and maybe attempt to be more spontaneous. Try to make everything more enjoyable so I didn't seem like such a wet blanket. Dave, you could never be a wet blanket.
No?
No.
No.
I decided to try out urban exploration. It seemed like it might be fun going into abandoned places and seeing what once was as remnants of nothing. I started this endeavor, and over the course of a few months, I had definitely seen some interesting places, like hospitals, factories, and even one psych ward.
Ooh, I want to go to a psych ward.
Yeah, we need to. When going into places like this, you always have to be wary of vagrants, calling the building home to get out of the weather, and having somewhat of a roof over their head. One night, I decided to go into an abandoned church to see what I could see and what interesting things might have been left behind. The building stood tall, but not as big as other churches I have seen. It seemed to only have one actual room for worship and gathering. After entering through a broken window, you could easily tell that this was no longer a place for light, worship, and a calming space. It was now meant for worse things that decided to inhabit it. You could feel the cold air and gazing eyes no matter where you went. The desolate sounds through the building of voices, objects moving, and even low-toned growls. I went through the entire building, searching and seeking. Old benches laid out, some in place and others as if they had been tossed. Bibles lay covered in dust as if longing for someone to touch them and open them, and a lone cracked wooden altar was at the front. I heard a noise behind me, and as I turned, I saw a very tall shadow. It had to be at least 12 feet tall, with piercing yellow eyes. I couldn't move. It was as if something was holding me in place, frozen to the floor. Noises, whispers, and echoes became louder and louder as the shadow slowly made its way towards me. I did everything I could to break free and run, but I still couldn't move. It was like there were things I couldn't see holding me in place. The shadow and I were face to face now, as his eyes pierced my very being, my very existence. Finally, I mustered up enough strength to break myself free from whatever had held me, and I ran as fast as I could and jumped out the window I had entered through. As I made my exit, I could hear laughter and a voice say, "I got you." I hit the ground hard, and after taking a few deep breaths to regain myself, I stood up and started walking away. I was too curious for my own good, and I turned around. My eyes grew wide, almost to the point of falling out from what I saw. Where a church once stood, a place I was physically standing in, was completely gone.
Oh.
No rubble, no debris, just a complete nothingness, like it never existed. The words then hit me. I got you. It had taken everything it wanted from me.
Was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a little goosebumpies
I
at
know.
the end.
Like nothing. He turned around and
got
nothing was
you.
there.
I got you.
I got you, boo. Okay, now for Aiyana's spine-chilling story. The cabin on Hollow Road. Rain hammered the windshield as Claire squinted through the gloom, her GPS spinning uselessly. The last sign she'd seen said Hollow Road, though the narrow, tree-choked path ahead looked more like a forgotten trail than a road. Her phone had died 2 miles back. No signal, no houses, just woods and mud. She should have turned around, but she couldn't. The storm had washed out the highway behind her, so she pressed forward, tires scrunching over wet gravel, hoping for any sign of life. That's when she saw it. A cabin. It sat off to the side, barely visible through a thicket of crooked trees. The porch sagged, the windows were dark, and the chimney coughed out no smoke, but had a light. The faint yellow bulbs swaying over the door like it had been expecting her. Claire hesitated. Then lightning flashed, and she saw the road ahead had collapsed into a pit of floodwater. She had no choice. The porch groaned under her boots as she knocked. No answer, but the door creaked open on its own. Inside, the air smelled like wet wood and something sour. The cabin was oddly clean. Furniture covered in white sheets, a fireplace untouched. A single chair faced the hearth, though no fire had ever been lit. She called out, "Hello, is anyone there?" Nothing. Then her eyes landed on the table by the wall. A Polaroid camera and dozens of photos spread out beneath it. She picked one up. It was her. Standing on the porch, looking confused, she hadn't taken a photo. She flipped through others. Her again, walking up the steps. Her knocking. Her stepping inside. Each one from angles impossible to capture unless someone had been watching. Suddenly, a floorboard creaked behind her. She spun. Nothing. Claire backed toward the door, but it slammed shut. She yanked on the knob. Locked. No key. The temperature dropped. Her breath misted in the air. Then, behind her, the camera clicked. She turned in time to see it eject a fresh Polaroid. It fluttered to the floor. Shaking, Claire picked it up. It showed her, mouth open in a scream, though she hadn't screamed yet. Another sound, the creak of footsteps upstairs. Claire grabbed the fireplace poker and crept up the narrow stairs. Each step groaned under her weight. At the top was a single door. Closed, she pushed it open. A bedroom, empty except for more photos. Hundreds, covering the walls, the floor, the ceiling, all of her. some of her sleeping, others with her eyes wide in fear, and one with her lying in that very bed, eyes black, mouth sewn shut. Claire turned to run, but something stood in the hallway now. Not a man, not a shadow, whatever it was, wearing her face. The last thing she heard was the camera's click, 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 click. They found her car the next day, empty, door ajar, headlights still on. No one ever found Claire. But if you drive down Hollow Road some nights, you'll see the cabin light flicker on. And if you listen closely, you'll hear the camera still clicking.
Wasn't that good?
Yeah, that was really good.
They're both really good. We had to pick them both. So we'll contact you guys and see how you want us to send your prizes.
Mm-hmm.
You want us to sign them first, like Amanda insists?
I insist we sign them. So
and then send it to you, or if you want them just shipped directly to you, just let us know. We'll contact you and find out. But thank you to everyone who participated. It was so much fun reading these.
It was, and very hard to pick.
Yes, and we hope you guys like doing this kind of stuff because we enjoy it.
Yeah.
We like, giving out free merch. Who doesn't like free shit?
Right.
I like free shit.
I like free shit.
In fact, if you want to send me some free shit, I'll take it.
Me too. I like free stuff.
Yeah. So I have a few like campfire ghosty stories to tell, and I
have 7 urban legends. I don't have to read them all, but they're real short ones.
Okay. Do you want do you want to alternate, or do you want to do one and then
one and one?
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to start with the Whistler in the Woods. They say if you hear whistling in the woods at night, don't whistle back, which is fine because I can't really whistle.
I don't know how to whistle.
I have to use my finger. Well, I can kind of whistle, but it's not very good.
And when people whistle, it puts me in a bad mood because I can't whistle.
Yeah.
And I hate it. I hate whistling. I hate it.
It was the last night of our camping trip in the dense forest of the Pacific Northwest. The trees loomed high like ancient watchers, their silhouettes jagged and still in the moonlight. The 6 of us, college friends on one last summer adventure, sat around the crackling fire, telling stories, laughing too loudly, pretending we weren't scared of the dark. Then we heard it. A whistle, soft, 3 notes. We went, see, that's the best I can do.
I can't even do that.
We went silent. It didn't sound like a bird. It was too slow, too deliberate. It's probably just someone else camping nearby, Sam muttered, though he didn't sound convinced.
Okay, but that's a creepy tone.
Let's whistle back, laughed Riley, who never took anything seriously. Before anyone could stop him, he puckered up and mimicked the sound. It's so hard.
I know.
A moment passed. Then the reply came. Closer. Louder. Okay, that's creepy, said Jenna, pulling her blanket tighter. It's probably an echo, I said, even though I knew it wasn't. Echoes don't move closer. We tried to laugh it off, roast a few more marshmallows, but we were all still listening, waiting, watching the tree line. Around midnight, we turned in. I crawled into my tent, zipped it shut, and listened to the wind rustle the leaves. The forest was never truly quiet, but sometime around 2 a.m., I heard the whistle again. Right outside my tent. I froze. My breath caught in my throat. Then I heard another zipper. Riley's tent. Not funny, dude, I whispered. Oh, not funny, dude, I whispered, hoping
Not funny, dude, I whispered.
That's like in Harry Potter where Albus Dumbledore says, in the book, it says, Dumbledore calmly asks, Harry, did you put your name into the goblet of fire?
But he's like,
but in the movie, he goes, Harry, did you put your name into that fire? You know,
to the goblet of fire, and he like grabs it.
He was all like really
aggressive
about it. And it's not like that in the book. I was hoping it was him playing a prank. Then I heard his voice, muffled, from inside his tent. Who's out there? He called. Not Riley. We all scrambled out, flashlights in hand. The fire had long since died down. Shadows danced between the trees. There were no footsteps, no signs of anyone or anything being near. We packed up at first light. Nobody said it out loud, but we were all thinking it. We should never have whistled back. Later I looked up. Local legends talk about an old spirit called the Whistler. They say it mimics sounds to draw you out, which there is mimics, which do that. Like they'll talk and they'll sound like, your friends or your loved ones, and they'll try to
Get you
to come out.
Yep.
Answers your call, so you'll think it's just a friend. But if you see him, tall, pale, face too long, with a mouth that stretches from ear to ear.
Oh,
I hate that.
yeah.
It's too late. Riley never made it home. We thought he'd just driven ahead, but his car was still at the campsite. Tent still zipped. Keys still inside. Only thing missing was Riley.
They didn't look in the tent?
Well, the tent was still zipped up.
Yeah, that doesn't.
Well, I
know. I'm just saying I would have unzipped it and looked in there. What if
I'm
he
sure
was still sleeping and they left him
sure
there?
they did. And late at night, when I can't sleep, sometimes I hear it again outside my window. And I remember, never whistle back.
Never. That was good. But they probably left their friend sleeping in the tent.
Yeah, he's probably pissed.
So I have Arizona's spookiest urban myths and legends. When it comes to ghost stories, Arizona claims a classic. The red ghost terrorized the Arizona frontier for a decade before the 20th century. The beast was tall, fierce, red as the fires of hell, and ridden by a dead man. That sort of thing causes chills no matter what century. First sighted in 1883, the red ghost trampled a woman to death near Eagle Creek in southern Arizona. It destroyed a prospector's camp near Clifton, and another time toppled a teamster's wagon in the middle of the night. Terrified witnesses described its immense size. The only physical evidence left behind was a large cloven hoof print and tufts of red hair. Finally, an upright and sober citizen spotted the beast while rounding up cows near the Salt River. He recognized it as a camel, but there was something peculiar about this dromedary. There appeared to be the skeleton of a man lashed to the back of the animal. Before the Civil War, the U.S. Army had employed camels as beasts of burden while surveying a wagon road across northern Arizona. The camels performed admirably, but were also independent and cantankerous. Some were sold at auction, while others were turned loose in the desert. When a group of prospectors spotted the red ghost near the Verde River, they shot at it but missed. When the animal bolted, something fell to the ground. It turned out to be a human skull with shreds of flesh and hair still attached over the ears.
Ew.
Yeah. The red ghost's legend grew even as the body of its horrifying rider fell away in bits and pieces. The story finally came to an end when a rancher named Mizzou Hastings spotted a tall red camel in his garden and shot it. None of the skeletons remained, but the camel's back still bore the scars from leather straps cutting into its flesh. Who the mysterious rider was? A miner too weak to ride? A soldier on a dare? No one knows.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
So this one's like the other one where it's don't repeat what is done. This one's called the third knock. There's an old rule in the mountain towns around Appalachia. Never open the door after the third knock.
Okay, so what are you supposed to do when Sheldon knocks on your door?
Penny, penny, penny.
So, okay, sorry, can't open the door. That's
Sorry,
3 knocks.
sorry.
Can't do it.
Sorry about your luck, bud.
You gotta die in the hallway. See you later.
I didn't believe it either until that night. 3 of us were backpacking deep in the Smoky Mountains. No service, no maps, just a worn trail and our gear. The day had gone smooth enough, mild weather, a steady hike, in a secluded spot we found just before dusk. As night fell, we gathered around the fire, trading ghost stories and passing around cheap whiskey to keep warm. I told the one about this. Oh, you're not supposed to say this word, so I'm going to call it flesh pedestrian. Because you're not supposed to say what it really is.
What is it?
SKIN.
Oh, yeah. I say them anyway.
I don't believe in a lot of things, but I ain't going to ask for it to.
A skinwalker?
Don't say it.
Okay.
You take it with you.
It's not allowed to come with me. I don't approve. Isn't that what you're supposed to say?
Set your intentions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if beasties follow those rules.
We'll find out. Anyway.
Danny told the one about the haunted well in his hometown. Then Kayla said, I've got one I heard from my grandma. She said the woods here aren't empty. There's something that watches, something old. It comes knocking in threes. First knock is just a warning. The second is a test. The third, Kayla paused, glancing into the trees. If you open the door on the third knock, it gets inside.
Oof.
Danny scoffed. Inside what? Kayla looked at him. You.
Oh.
We laughed it off, but the woods felt different after that. The kind of silence where the trees seemed to lean in. Around 1 a.m., I heard it. Knock. Soft, against the inside of my tent. I held my breath. Probably a branch falling, maybe a raccoon. I didn't check. A few minutes later, knock. Clearer, heavier, same spot. I sat up this time. Danny? Kayla? I whispered. No one answered. Then came the third knock. Not a branch, not an animal. It was Knuckles, human, sharp, deliberate. I didn't move, didn't speak. I just waited, praying it would go away. And then silence. When morning came, I unzipped my tent and blinked into the gray dawn. Kayla's tent was open. Danny was gone. Not zipped, not collapsed, just empty. See, it's like the same.
Yeah.
But slightly different. His pack's still there, but boots still there. We searched all morning, calling his name until our voices cracked. Nothing. The Rangers organized a search party. No sign, not a single footprint leading away from the camp. Only thing we found was a perfect handprint on the back of his tent. Long fingers, too long, almost clawed, burned into the fabric like a scar. Kayla and I never went camping again. She doesn't talk much now. Won't sleep unless all doors are locked, even her closet. Last time I visited her, she looked me dead in the eye and said, it knocked again last week on my bedroom door, third time. I asked what she did. She didn't answer, just smiled, but it wasn't her smile.
Oh.
And
God.
then I left. I could have sworn I heard it. Knock, knock, knock. So if you're ever out here and you hear it, don't open the door. Don't answer. And never, ever wait for the third knock.
That one gave me chills.
Yeah, me too.
And you're reading these? And you're getting ready to go camping.
I know. Isn't that perfect?
All right. So mine is a tragic death haunts the museum club in Flagstaff. Every time I hear Flagstaff, I think of Wagstaff.
Oh.
From Bob's Burgers.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that Wagstaff?
I don't remember.
Oh. Fashioned as a giant log cabin, this cadaverous honky-tonk looms on Route 66. Route or route?
Route 66.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was built by a taxidermist in 1931 to house his immense collection of stuffed dead animals, some of which remain today. That's how the museum club earned its long-running nickname, the Zoo. And it can be a little disconcerting to catch a glimpse of glossy eyes peering at you from the shadows. Don Scott put the museum club on the map as a country music showcase after buying it in the 1960s. Scott, who had toured with Bob Wills and the Texas Playboys, enticed big name stars like Willie Nelson and Waylon Jennings to perform. Sadly, Scott's ownership ended in tragedy. His wife, Thorna, tumbled down the stairs and died in 1973. Now, you would think he's a taxidermist. He's going to stuff his wife and put her on display, right?
That's what we used to tease Grandma. We would say when she died, we were going to stuff her and then put a motor on her rocking chair so she'd still rock.
What'd she say?
She'd laugh. We didn't do that.
By the way,
that didn't happen.
Shattered by the loss, Scott shot himself in front of the fireplace 2 years later. Today, Thorna's ghost is seen in dark booths and behind the back bar, where she's sometimes mistaken for a bartender by confused customers. Again, these are all just like, what I call them?
Urban legends.
Urban legend. These are all just like urban legend stories. They're not like stories, but
yeah,
I wanted a story, but I was like, gosh dang it. It is what it is.
Okay.
I knew you'd have stories.
Yes,
I'm like, I'm just going to tell some urban legends from Arizona.
This is the Lantern Woman. Every town has a road you don't drive after dark. Ours is Witch Hollow Road. I would definitely drive Witch Hollow Road.
Oh,
that sounds awesome.
Absolutely.
That's like our Primrose.
Yes.
We used to go to that when we were younger.
That would be like,
because there's supposed to be a lady you see there.
And
yeah,
and you drive backwards or something.
Yeah, something like that. Not because it's haunted, because she's still there. They call her the Lantern Woman. The story goes, over 150 years ago, a woman named Eleanor lost her daughter in the woods behind Witch Hollow. Townsfolk said the girl was lured away by something unnatural, something not of this world. Eleanor searched day and night, the lantern the only light in the pitch-black forest. They found her body in the spring, knee scraped, raw, fingers broken, face frozen mid-scream. She'd clawed her way through miles of brush and had gone completely blind from staring into the lantern's flame. But here's the thing. When they found her, the lantern was still burning. No oil, no wick, just a cold blue flame. We were idiots, 17, high on dares and discount beer. 4 of us, me, Jason, Molly, and Ben. We wanted a thrill, so we drove down Witch Hollow after dark. At first it was quiet, eerily quiet, the kind of quiet that pushes against your eardrums. Trees so thick they swallowed the headlights. Fog crept along the ground like it was alive. Then the engine started to sputter. Jason cursed. The radio glitched out, just static and whispering.
Oof.
We thought it was the station until it said my name, clearly, slowly, like someone was tasting it.
Would you be freaked out if it was on the radio and somebody said,
Angela?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then the cold came, fast and heavy. Frost climbed the inside of the windshield, and in the mirror, we saw her, standing in the middle of the road behind us. Soaked dress, matted hair, a lantern held high, its flame an unnatural seething blue. Jason floored it, but the car didn't move. The wheels spun and screamed, and the road turned slick beneath us, like we were stuck on ice, though the night was dry. Then the light moved, not like someone walking, like something floating, dragging itself forward. We started screaming. The lantern woman appeared at my window. I could smell her like old meat and burnt fabric.
Oh, God.
Her hand, rotted, blackened with claws instead of nails, scraped the glass. She looked up. No eyes, just bleeding holes. Her mouth hung open, jaw cracked too wide, and from her throat came the sound of all the lost children screaming at once. And then she whispered, "She's inside you now." I blacked out. I woke up 2 days later in the hospital bed. The others didn't. Jason was found in the car, eyes torn out, nails jammed into his mouth. Ben disappeared. Seatbelt still buckled, door still shut, just gone. And Molly, she's in the psychiatric ward, doesn't speak. But sometimes she sings a lullaby no one taught her. The nurses say when she sings it, her breath turns to fog. I can't sleep, not because of nightmares, but because when I do fall asleep, I wake up holding a lantern. And every time the flame burns a little bluer, and I can hear them, all of them, screaming.
Mm-mm.
That's it.
That one's a little creepy. Mine is called "The London Bridge was rebuilt in Lake Havasu City with ghosts." As if Arizona didn't have enough ghosts, we seem to have imported a few more that traveled to Lake Havasu City and the granite bones of the London Bridge. A lot of residual energy came with the historic span since the apparitions in Victorian clothing have been seen since the dedication ceremony in Lake Havasu City in 1971. A London Bobby still patrols the bridge. A woman in black is seen reliving her suicide, leaping from the bridge but then vanishing before hitting the water. More than one paranormal investigation claims that Jack the Ripper is still attached to the bridge. All his heinous murders were committed within a mile of the bridge, and some theorize he might have used service doors and small passageways in the bridge to elude capture. Even the lights of the London Bridge have a bloody past. The metal for the light posts is melted down cannons of the Napoleon Bonaparte's army.
That's cool.
Yeah, but Jack the Ripper is attached to it, so that's cool.
Yeah.
It's an urban legend, like, to attach to this bridge.
Okay, this one's called The Reflection Room. They say sleep is the most vulnerable state a person can be in, and that's exactly why they wait until nightfall.
Oof. They.
It happened to me last year. I was working night shift at an old mental hospital, long since shut down and converted into an urban retreat center for wellness retreats, team building workshops, and overpriced yoga sessions. I was part-time security, mostly to make sure no influencers were sneaking in to film creepy TikToks. But the bones of the building were still there. You could feel it underneath the incense and salt lamps. The walls still remembered. The screams, the electroshock therapy, the padded rooms. Especially room 6B. No one used that one. The owners claimed it had structural issues, but that was a lie. Everyone knew why it was locked. It was the mirror. They called it the reflection room. Back in the 1960s, it was used for something they called behavioral correction. They'd sit a patient alone in front of the mirror for hours, sometimes days. The doctors believed if the patient stared at themselves long enough, they'd break down their delusions, strip away what they called psychotic layering. But something else started happening. Woo, there goes the fire.
I know.
The patients began reporting that their reflections moved on their own, smiled when they didn't, started whispering, started copying wrong. Eventually, the room was sealed, mirror bolted to the wall, door chained shut, and the stories faded into the background like everything else in that cursed place. Until the night I got curious.
And this is why you don't get curious.
Curiosity killed the cat, man.
Right. Don't get in cars with strangers. Don't hitchhike. Don't be curious.
Yeah. Sound advice we give you.
But what do we know?
It was around 3:30 a.m., the dead hour. My partner, Miguel,
Oh, wait, I just heard something about the 3 a.m. is called the
witching hour?
devil's hour.
Oh, the devil.
The witch's hour is 12, apparently. This is what I just saw on a show. The witch's hour is 12, but the devil's hour is 3. And they said, why is it 3? And it's because he said that Jesus died at 3 p.m.
So the opposite.
So the opposite is 3 a.m. And the devil celebrates every single night at 3 a.m. That's why it's called the devil's hour.
Okay.
I know, right?
It was around 3:30 a.m., the dead hour. My partner, Miguel, was off doing rounds on the west wing, and I was left at the front desk, fighting off sleep. Rain hammered the windows, wind howling like a scream outside. The cameras glitched for a second, just static. Then they came back, and room 6B's feed flickered to life. It wasn't supposed to have a camera. And worse, the door was open. I should have called Miguel, should have checked the system, but I was tired and stupid and a little bit fascinated. So I grabbed my flashlight and went down to the east wing. The hallway was darker than usual, like the lights were dimmed more than they should be. Everything sounded thick, like I was underwater. The moment I passed the old therapy mural of painted sunflowers, I felt it. Something was watching. I turned the corner and saw the door to 6B hanging open like a broken jaw. The air coming from inside was cold, not air conditioning cold, grave dirt cold. I stepped in. The room was bare, peeling paint, rusted cot frame, and the mirror. 7 feet tall, bolted to the wall, and in it, I saw myself. But wrong. I wasn't holding the flashlight. My reflection's hand was empty. I was breathing heavy, but the reflection was. I wasn't breathing heavy, but the reflection was. Shoulders rising and falling like it had run miles. And its smile. God, its smile. I hate the smile.
I do too.
That's why I don't know if I could watch that smile movie.
It's creepy.
Because I don't like it when things smile unnaturally.
Ugh.
I don't like that.
It's a good movie. It's definitely creepy.
And then it moved. Not like a twitch, not like a flicker. It stepped forward. My heart slammed in my chest. I stepped back and the reflection stayed where it was. Then it raised its hand, pressed it to the inside of the glass. Blood leaked from its fingertips. Not a cut, not a wound, just bleeding constantly, slowly, like the mirror was drawing it out. Then I heard it whisper, "Let me out. You're already halfway in." I bolted, didn't look back. But when I reached the front desk, Miguel was waiting, pale and shaking. "Where the hell were you?" he asked. I told him, and he said, "Room 6B doesn't have a mirror anymore." He dragged me back. The door was chained shut, rusted tight. Dust covered everything, like no one had entered in years. There was no camera feed, no footprints. But the worst part, the mirror was gone. Just bare wall, not even mounting bolts. I tried to quit the next day. The owner said I must have fallen asleep, that I had dreamt it. But they had a clause in the contract, 6 months minimum. So I stayed, and I started noticing things. Reflections moving when they shouldn't. Seeing myself blink in the windows a second after I did. And at night, in the bathroom mirror, sometimes my reflection doesn't leave when I walk away. I can see it still standing there in the corner of my eye. Always smiling. Last week, I woke up and found a handprint on the inside of my bathroom mirror. Blood red. 5 long fingers smearing downward. My hands were clean. My mirror is screwed into the wall. So now I don't sleep much because that's when it happens. That's when I hear it from the mirror. Just behind the glass, barely a whisper. "You stare too long. Now it's your turn to be the reflection." The next time someone looks into that mirror, They won't see themselves. They'll see me, trapped, watching, smiling.
Nope. Taking down all my mirrors when I get home. All of them. 26 people died at the Birdcage Theater in Tombstone. When it comes to body count, the OK Corral was a children's playground compared to the Birdcage Theater, where more than 140 bullet holes still decorate the walls. It's believed 26 people died on the floor of the Birdcage, a wild and woolly saloon that also served as a gambling hall, theater, and brothel. That's a lot of restless spirits left behind. Also housed in the buildings are Tombstone's horse-drawn hearse, the Black Moriah, which hauled all but 6 of the corpses that now reside at Boot Hill Graveyard.
How do you get a horse-drawn hearse? I want that. I want that so bad now.
I think that would be cool. Well, let's start looking.
Yeah. Let's do that, and that could be a service we offer.
Yes. To the haunted house.
Oh man.
Yes.
Oh,
I know
Caitlin has a horse.
I was gonna say, I know we can get a horse. Is it any wonder why paranormal shows frequently feature the birdcage? Apparitions of cowboys and prostitutes have been seen. The click of poker chips and footsteps across creaky floors are often heard. Some visitors claim to have been touched or shoved by unseen forces.
This one's The Man Who Waits. Every small town has a story they don't put in the brochures. Ours was about the man who waits. It started in the 1970s, a string of murders across 3 counties, always the same pattern. Campers, hikers, people looking to get off the grid. They'd vanish in the woods, no trace. Then weeks later, their heads would be found nailed to the trees.
Oh, shit.
No blood, no bodies, just the heads, wide-eyed and grinning.
Why?
I don't know. I didn't realize I had a theme, but I do. Local law enforcement called the killer the woodsman. Said he lived off the land, moved like a shadow, never left footprints, never used guns, only a hatchet and a hunting knife. Then, just as suddenly as the murders started, they stopped. People say the woodsman died out there, got sick, fell into a ravine, eaten by wolves, whatever, the case went cold. But then the story started. Quiet ones, whispers. Campers would return from weekends in the mountains and swear they saw someone standing in the tree line, not moving, just watching. Sometimes when they woke up, their gear had been moved around, or they'd find deep gouges carved into the bark around their tent, marks that looked like tallies, and always in groups of 3.
Why is everything smiles and 3s?
I don't know. Apparently that's the spooky. We were just kids when we heard the legend, stupid high schoolers who wanted to scare each other. So of course we planned a camping trip out to the old woods where the murders happened. 4 of us, me, Jake, Chris, and Logan. We parked the car miles from town, hiked deep into the forest, and set up camp near an old stream. It was perfect. Until night fell. The woods got too quiet. No insects, no wind, just this pressure, like the trees were leaning in to listen. That's when we heard the first sound. Snap. A twig breaking, not far from the tent. Chris grabbed a flashlight and shone it toward the sound. Nothing, just trees, darkness. But Jake said, I think I saw someone. We laughed it off. Probably a deer or a raccoon, right? Until we found the footprints. Large, bare, leading in circles around our tent. The prints would stop, then reappear again a few feet away, like he was watching from different angles. Jake wanted to leave. Logan told him to grow a pair. But then we saw them. 3 deep cuts in the bark of the tree right next to the tent. Tally marks. That night, none of us slept. The fire crackled. The forest stayed silent. Then around 2 a.m., we heard a voice. Low, hoarse, croaking. 1, 2. It was coming from the woods behind us, just beyond the firelight. 3. That's when Logan screamed. He'd been keeping watch and saw the man standing just at the edge of the trees. No shoes, long, filthy beard, pale skin like bark, holding something long and gleaming. A hatchet. We grabbed our stuff and ran. No plan, no path, just away. Behind us, we heard him laughing. Not loud, just a huffing, broken kind of laugh, like he hadn't used his lungs in years. We made it to the car just before sunrise. But when we opened the doors, on the windshield in blood were 3 tally marks. Jake never spoke again. It's always somebody not speaking to.
Right.
Jake never spoke again. Something broke in him that night. Logan moved out of state, swore he'd never set foot near a forest again. Chris joined the military, said the only thing scarier than what we saw was knowing it's still out there. And me, I kept it quiet, tried to forget. But last week, I found something on my porch. A small wooden box, no return address, no markings. Inside was a strip of bark, dark with something that smelled like iron. Carved deep into it were 3 tallies, and below them a note, handwritten in jagged, uneven lettering. I counted wrong. 1 still breathes. Don't worry, I remember your face when you ran. I haven't slept since, because that means he's still watching, still counting, still waiting for me to stop running.
You may do my last. I have a couple more, but I can
just do one more.
Yeah. Okay. I'll do the what's lurking in the stacks at Flagstaff Public Library.
I don't know.
We're about to find out. For years, Flagstaff Public Library staff have reported ghostly figures, disembodied voices, mournful wails, and objects moving on their own among the aisles of books. The library inherited its ghost from the ruins of the old Emerson Elementary School, which once occupied the property. One possible source of the paranormal activity stems from a custodian who was said to have killed himself in the school basement. The basement is one of the ghostly hotspots, along with teen and younger youth book sections. However, librarians' research turned up no evidence of a school janitor taking his life on the grounds. What they did discover was in 1937, a woman named Marie Walkup murdered her 4 children and then took her own life. 2 of the children were students at Emerson. Perhaps they remain in the one and only place they felt safe during their young lives.
Oh,
I know, isn't that sad? That's it.
All right. Well, we hope you guys had a terrifying time.
Those stories were spooky, yeah, for sure.
So don't whistle, don't knock, don't look in mirrors,
Don't
go camping.
Don't go camping, period.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all.
That's all, folks.
That's all she wrote. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube to see our beautiful faces. Any podcast platforms we're on.
Yep. If you have any stories you'd like to send in, whether they're ghost stories, glitches in the Matrix,
Very fucking.
if you have any Bigfoot sightings and you can let us know just how big his foot is, we'd like to know.
Yes, we're curious.
We're curious.
Like we said, though, curiosity killed the cat. So let's not be that curious, but we're a little curious.
We're a little curious.
Curious. Not curious enough to get killed.
No. You can send those in to our email address, which is spinechillingchatspodcast@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can go to our website, www.spine-chillingchatspodcast.com, and you can submit them directly there. Also on our website, you can hit a link to see past episodes we've done. You can look at our photos. You can look at our bios. And you can buy some merch. I got my spooky shirt on.
Buy some merch. It's really cool stuff.
We got everything.
Yes.
Like, we got serial killers on there. We have crime scene,
paranormal,
yeah,
Bigfoot,
aliens.
Yeah. All the
It's
stuff.
a smorgasbord of spooky shit.
Yes.
So check it out. Buy some stuff. Again, I want to say thank you to Dave and Aiyana for your wonderful stories, and everyone else who sent one in. We really appreciate the participation. We like to do these kind of things, so hopefully we can do it again in the future.
Yes.
And
that's it.
Yeah, that's all.
That's it. Hopefully you guys come back and see us and support us, because we really like doing this. So like, subscribe, share, do all the things you got to do to get us out there. We're cool people.
We are. Robbie asked if when we were done, if we were going to throw the dirt on the fire, like in Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Oh, I didn't even think about that. We should have. Oh, well.
All right. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this. We hope you come back. And most of all, we hope you keep it spooky. Bye, guys.
Bye.